Hi there, everybody. This is Melissa Curran, a certified aromatherapist and the owner of Scented Balance Aromatherapy. And I hope I'm your favorite aromatherapist. And I'm always excited to talk to what I consider a holistic practitioner or a heart-centered practitioner who is interested in your well-being. And today, I've always got the little intro ready. I am talking with Dr. Maureen Work, and she is a doctor of chiropractic, and she's also the owner of Bodycare Chiropractic in Clemmons, North Carolina. Dr. Work's primary focus is to align and stabilize your spinal column, and that is hugely important. And she's also focused on taking people from symptomatic and crisis conditions to a wellness state. Dr. Work is all about educating her patients on their role in their healthcare, and I call it taking charge of your own well-being. Hello, Dr. Work. I'm so happy to see
Melissa.
you. Thank
I'm
you.
glad to be on here finally.
Yes.
We've been trying to do this for a long time.
I know, and schedules sometimes just didn't mesh up. I want everyone to know that I have been a patient of Dr. Work's, I don't know, since you moved here. Which is like 15 years or 1,000 years, whichever comes first, you
About
know.
the same.
And there were times when I had absolutely no healthcare insurance and no way to go to a doctor, but I knew I could always come to you because number one, it was affordable, and number two, it kept me healthy and I believe out of another doctor's office and keeping me from taking pills. And for that, I'm very grateful. So I know what chiropractic care is and how good is it, but tell me, if I don't know, why is it so good for you? What does it have to do with your health?
Well, what happens is in daily life, we have things where we're in motion and we stop abruptly. Okay, so a car accident, a fall, a trip, a trauma, going through a doorway, hitting your shoulder on the doorway, getting out of the car, you can hit your head on the door jamb. Childbirth, the mama having the baby and the child coming out. I mean, that's traumatic in itself sometimes. So what happens is we're all moving parts. Our spine is all moving parts. And what happens is, as we know with moving parts, sometimes they can misalign or get stuck. Okay, we call that a subluxation. When that happens, it puts pressure on a nerve. Wherever that nerve is going to, the job it's supposed to be doing isn't quite 100%. So we might have indigestion, we might have headaches, we might have leg cramps, we might have just general stiffness and soreness, or my favorite is, it's just because I'm getting old. That was my favorite one. So what happens in chiropractic is what we get to do is assess the entire spine and the rest of the joints, arms, legs, elbows, hips, and find out what's restricted, again, the subluxation, and then adjust it and clear it. And there's a lot of different techniques that we use, and I narrow mine down in my office to be very specific as well. Okay. But it's amazing what happens is when you start to free up those joints, you move better, you feel better, the headaches start going away. There's so many benefits to chiropractic care that, most of my patient base is people that are coming for wellness and they just want to stay healthy and avoid problems, and everybody's timetable is a little differently. So the great part is, some people might come in more often, some people once in a while. It just, everybody has their own pattern basically that they fit. And so what chiropractic does is it just keeps us out there and moving. I love my patients, that, and I love to see them out and living and then just getting checked so they can continue to do the things I like to do, like hiking and biking and backpacking and boating and motorcycle riding and just living. So and golf. I know. So yeah. So that's where I think it's so important. And it's a gem that a lot of people think is just about pain, and it's not. Well, we come out of pain initially. That's why people usually come to, because you want to get out of pain. But the true benefit of chiropractic care is an entire holistic approach, which I think is amazing.
One of the things that you had explained to me early on, you had made, I think, just an offhand comment, and it blew me away one time when I was in your treatment room, and you said, when your spine is aligned, you are far less apt to be ill. And of course, I'm going, let me absorb that. Let me process. And I said, why? And you said, because if your I guess your spinal column or your discs or your vertebrae are not unduly pressing on nerves like they're not supposed to be, which
Mhm.
is hard on the nerve, and then the nerve
Right.
has to accommodate, you
Mhm.
tend to be more healthy.
Mhm.
And that stuck with me. And like I said, there were times when I couldn't go to a doctor because I
Yeah.
didn't have insurance. And
Right.
at least I felt like coming to you, I was doing everything I could to stay as healthy as possible. And I really felt the difference. And I do feel the difference when you adjust me, because sometimes I
Right.
come in and say, yowza, everything hurts.
Mhm. Yeah.
And when I leave, you've got me back in alignment and I
Right.
don't hurt.
Right. And what happens is another easy way to explain that in very simple terms is if your body's working on something that's restricted, it's stuck, it's not functioning correctly, all your energy goes there. So other things are going to be like, oh, put on the back burner. And that's the
Mhm,
easiest way to explain it. So, I look at it in the history of my practice, definitely less people get sick over
mhm,
time because it's like we can catch things ahead of time so your body can work on that immune system. It can work on, oh, I don't have to worry about, getting, everybody gets allergies, that gets allergies, but it's like, it might
mhm,
not be as severe.
mhm.
I'm not saying you're never going to get sick, but there's a good chance, like, you're going to feel better faster. You're going to recover faster. And your body's going to be like, who, thanks. Now I can go and do my job.
Yes.
When it has to think of something else. And that's, to me, like when I was going through school, I'm like, what's the easiest way to explain this to people? Is it's kind of like when your car is running great and then that engine light shows up.
Don't ignore it.
And then you're like, you don't tape it. You don't put a little piece of tape over it and say, doesn't exist. A pretty little smiley sticker, and it's that same thing. Our red
Mhm,
flags are pain, discomfort,
mhm,
headaches, but it's
mhm,
also indigestion. It's couples having difficulty conceiving. So it's like all those things are affected. And it's like, we want people to be well. We've been doing this since forever, so to me, it's pretty amazing to watch people come into the office. They've got a complaint, which is usually what brings people in, figuring out what the complaint is and figuring out the best chiropractic treatment for them, because not
mhm,
everybody's the same. It might look the same, but every individual adjustment is just that. It's an individual adjustment for
mhm.
that particular person. So your treatment schedule might be similar to somebody else's in timing, but your adjustments are always unique and they're for you specifically. And that's what I think I love as well, because it's kind of like detective work and you have to find out what's going on with this person. It's not just cookie cutter and it's my patients stay with me like after the day is over and I'm like, and I'll just kind of be like, what else can we do differently? And that's when I started
Mhm,
branching off into things like nutrition and the lasers and
mhm. And
the
aromatherapy.
detoxing and the aromatherapy. And it's like, it's amazing. And by the way, I did give your name to somebody yesterday. They should be calling you.
Thank you.
So to me, it's, nutrition, eating the right foods, because, the standard American diet is what makes us all sick. But it's fast and it's easy, so to me,
And
it's
cheap.
pretty interesting and it's cheap. Yeah, good food
Yeah.
is always expensive. So that should be totally opposite. But, so to me, you know, my history in getting into chiropractic in the first place, mine was a pain. It was a crisis,
Mhm,
7 years after the initial injury. And then I'm like, well, this is kind of crazy because I thought they were going to, kill me. I thought they were going to break my neck. I mean, I was a horrible patient to start with, but because I didn't know anything except what you hear from people and what you see on TV.
Yeah.
And so just by learning about it and realizing that this is different than what I thought it would be, and I always wanted to be in healthcare, I just don't do blood really well. And I didn't want to do surgery and I didn't really want to do pharmaceuticals. So I was like, well, I guess I'm not going to do that. I'll just do an accounting, So, and then when I went to a chiropractor, it totally changed the way I looked at everything.
Mhm,
And I was really impressed. And I was one of those people that asked a lot of questions because I'm like, this is new to me. It's like a foreign language, so why is it doing that? So to me, it was pretty eye-opening. And I love the fact that the doctor I talked to, would be able to take a little bit of time with me and answer a couple questions here and there. And it was just like, and then it helped me kind of fine tune. And that's exactly how he taught me as well, how the body works and how to take care of
mhm,
myself. So everything I teach my patients is based on what I learned from my own personal experience. And then all the classes we take in the continuing education and how to be how to feel better overall. And, when patients are really receptive and they start doing things that they know is like going to make a small change, it's so exciting because it changes lives, and it might be just a
It
little bit for some
does.
people, and some people it's like a whole new way of working their life. So it's pretty cool.
One of the things that I feel like I can help people with is chronic pain management. And
Mhm.
the thing that I'm sure any doctor should tell their patient is, I can't heal you. I simply
Right,
have tools that help you heal
right,
yourself. And I think that's really important for people to
right,
understand. It's not my job or your
right,
job or anyone's job to heal whatever ails you. But if we have a tool that helps your body get back into balance, what your body is trying to do all the time.
right,
So
right.
that's where I have found aromatherapy is really helpful, is the chronic pain.
Mhm.
But the last time I was in your office, you have a new service that helps
We
with
do.
the chronic pain, lower back
Yeah.
pain, plantar fasciitis, things like that,
Mhm.
that would work
Mhm.
very well with aromatherapy. And I
Yes.
said, what is that? And you said, it's this. And I said, please come talk to me on a Zoom chat because I want people to know about this. So explain.
Okay. So I've had a laser in my office, a cold laser in my office for several years, and wasn't really sure how to use it, how to implement it in the beginning, so I didn't use it a whole lot. I practiced on me. And the interesting thing with the cold laser is you don't feel anything
Mhm.
because it doesn't heat anything up. And so over the years, I've learned more and more about it, and saved up my money and bought this larger laser. So I have several, actually I have several lasers now in the office. The larger laser is called the Zirconia 3X635. It is FDA cleared for treatment of chronic low back pain, plantar fasciitis, and neck and shoulder pain. That was the first clearance.
Oh,
And so
wow.
what it does is it's light, and it's designed so you have to wear glasses because it's an infrared light. But
Right.
you don't want to burn your eyeballs. That would be a bad day. But what happens is you point the lasers in the area that you want to treat, okay, that you want to start making a change in. And then what the laser does is it goes in the easiest terms, which is how they had to explain it to me in the beginning, because we can go technical. Go
Sure.
past a lot.
But
That's why there's brochures, right? So what it does is it increases the good blood flow. It brings good oxygen to the area that you're
Mhm.
aiming at with the lasers.
Mhm.
That's the area that's irritated, it's damaged somehow. And then that good oxygen starts to help rebuild that tissue and make it a healthier tissue, so you repair faster and better. And I am telling you, I have just gone, I love that laser. It was
Wow.
such a perfect combination to what I do, because you want the joints to heal better, but when what do you do for the soft tissue part of it?
Right.
And so when this came in, and it just really was that answer for how to help the soft tissue heal, it's incredible. And like I said, it's designed so you don't feel it. So, we have people take naps on, the tables while the laser is working on them, because they're like, I don't feel anything. I'm like, I know. But usually like the fourth visit, fifth visit, they're like, huh, and we'll see changes in how they're walking, how they're getting off the table, how
Mhm.
they're transitioning from laying down to sitting up. So we'll see those small changes at least a visit before they do. And so the first weekend in October, I'm actually going to be doing with one of my staff members, we're going to do an in-depth class on how to use this laser even more appropriately and better and
Okay.
more in depth than we were. So it's so exciting. There's always stuff to learn, and new information. And, the book they give you is like that thick, and it's got all the different settings. And I just am like, all right, let's just start with how do we work this the most efficient for the cases I see the most. So, but I'm telling you, I've used it on my ankle. And I get adjusted, I get my massages, I use,
Mhm.
aromatherapy in that. But my ankle just, I didn't know why it wasn't getting better. And it turns out because, 20 years standing on my feet, 22 years standing on my feet all day,
Mhm.
it gets to the point where I'm like, oh, it's just arthritis or la la la,
I'm
well,
getting
when I,
older.
right, exactly. And so I thought, well, I'll follow the protocol, and so I did that. I did, the protocol I followed plantar fasciitis because I had no idea what other one to do. And it was my foot. So it worked out well. And it was so interesting because like I and my brain knew what I should expect just because of what I've learned on it. But in actuality, it was so much better than what I would have imagined, that I don't have pain in my ankle anymore. And
Oh,
I would
wow.
have it by Thursday nights after I was finished with the week. I could not walk on my left foot. I just have to kind of lean to the right a lot. And now it doesn't happen
And
anymore.
that's not
And
good because that's
no,
automatically throwing your alignment out of
right,
adjustment. Even I know that.
right, exactly. So it's like I was starting to cause more problems without knowing,
You're
you know, and
compensating.
it translates up your spine.
Mhm.
And I'm like, man, you know, so it's really pretty fun when I'm like, oh, what else can I use it on? So, you know, I'm like, oh, you know, so there's some different protocols they're researching, that
Yes.
I'm looking forward to them coming out with and telling us that, you know, they've been cleared by the FDA to do this. And like I said, those 3 areas are definitely FDA cleared for it. And then the other uses are just amazing that, you know, you would never think of. And, you know, it just makes that tissue healthier and it brings that oxygen that I didn't know was basically starving in my foot. I didn't know, you know, and I do this for a living.
Well,
So,
the thing that I tell people, and I'm sure you tell them too, since I can't promise that your chronic pain is ever going to go away, but
right,
my job is to give you the tool that if I can
right,
help ease that pain
right,
several hours a day and you get
right,
your life back or more quality
right,
in your life, then I've done my job.
right,
It's not
right.
one and done.
No,
And, it's like I
healing
tell
is a
folks,
process, I tell people.
it is a
It's not an event.
process.
Yeah, it's a process. It's not an event. It takes time. It took you time to get into the situation. It's going to
Mhm.
take time to rebuild. I mean, you've
Yep.
got to give it the building blocks and the tools to get the results that you want. And it might not be perfect, but even if you have a 50% improvement, wouldn't your life change?
That's
You know,
huge.
it's amazing to me. And then when you
I
feel better, you start making better choices and you start doing things that are going to be better for you in general.
or
And you're
that
going to
bring
start
more
looking at things
joy
differently.
into your life.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yep.
sometimes just more joy
Yep.
helps with the chronic pain.
Right. Right.
And that's another thing that I've tried to make sure people understand. Unless you've had like a car accident, you
Mhm.
didn't get to this point overnight. And I'm
Mhm.
not talking about, just trauma that like a car accident trauma. I'm
Right.
talking about something that's been coming on for a while. You didn't get this way overnight. You're
Right.
not going to heal overnight. And
Mhm.
I think we need to stop watching TV commercials that say, let's take a pill and go skipping off into the sunset and we're healed.
Right.
Uh, and what I love about this laser that you have, it's number one, it's not invasive.
Mhm.
There's no pain involved,
Nope.
and it helps. And
Yeah.
there's the only side effect is you feel better. And
Right.
isn't that what healthcare is about?
Right. And there's a time and a place for everything. You know, there's
Yes,
a time that you're going to need medicine or you're going to need
yes,
surgery, you're going to need the medical intervention. But for
yes.
those times when it's like, they're like, well, there's nothing we can do, or you're just going to have to live with it, or whatever the reason is that they can't help you, it's nice to know that there are alternatives. And,
Especially if
you know,
somebody's trying to put you on an opioid, one of those
right.
horrible
That's so dangerous.
painkillers.
Yeah.
Let's look at this
Yeah.
differently. And that's what I love
Yeah.
about this laser system that you
Oh,
have.
it's so cool. Hmm.
Awesome.
It's very cool.
Well,
I'm so excited. And it's just watching people kind of go, huh, you know, I didn't really notice anything. I'm like, well, I told you, you're not going to know, you're not going to feel anything. So it's interesting. I think one of the first people I did it on, it was chronic low back. He was an older patient.
mhm.
And he was so funny. He's like, well, I'll try it. And I'm like, okay, you know. And first few visits, nothing. And about the 4th visit, I watched him, you know, because I help people on and off the table, or one of my staff members do. And he got up easier. And I was like, ooh. And he didn't notice it until the next time. And he said, you know, I think this might be doing something. And I'm like, I know, you know, so it was kind of
No
fun to
fooling.
just to learn with people as we go along. And
Mhm.
there are some people that once they're done with the protocol set by, you know, the company, the instructions set by the company, they're like, can I just maintain this once in a while? I'm like, yeah, you know,
Sure.
it's never going to hurt. And
Absolutely.
because everything is set according to the guidelines, you know, and we've already known we had progress. And so once in a while, it's like anything else. It's like, you know, you might need something to kind of like help you along to maintain it, or, you know, give it a little
Mhm.
boost, or, you know,
Mhm.
and then I have some people that are like, I have no pain left. I'm like, sweet. that's, kind of cool. I said, if something happens, just let me know. And it's fun because a lot of people say it's plantar fasciitis. A lot of times they'll have it in both feet,
Mhm.
you know.
That's painful.
And so what I've done is I've started working with the foot that hurts the most.
Okay.
And then what I've noticed is they're not putting as much pressure on the other foot, so their other foot's getting
Right.
better automatically. So we haven't had to so far do a second foot on anybody.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's really cool, and it's just
And it's exciting.
yes, it's very exciting. So
There's options out there, and that's what
yeah.
I want people to know,
Yes.
and that's why I wanted to talk to you, because it gives you options,
Yeah.
and it gives
Yeah.
you access to taking care of your
Yeah.
own healthcare. You get to
Yeah.
be in charge of your own healthcare.
And a lot of people know that something's off, and they know that there's like, I'm not sure what to do. And you know this, if you come into my office, if I think I can help you, I'm going to tell you. And if I don't think I can, I'm going to tell you that too, because it doesn't help anybody if I drag something along. So,
Right.
Or if I think somebody else can help you better, if
Right.
I think there's somebody else that's like, they're more suited for what your issue is. I'm like, that to me is healthcare.
Yes.
Because
it's kindness. It's kindness.
Yes, exactly.
This has been so awesome, and especially for
you.
someone who is in chronic pain and
Yeah.
needs some help. Where
Yeah.
can we find you? How do we find you?
Okay. So my practice is located in Clemmons.
Mhm.
It's Bodycare Chiropractic Incorporated, and it's 5919 James Street,
Okay.
Suite C. It's right next to the fire department, which is
Yay.
Yep. I'm like, hello. And we work Monday through Thursday. And so if you call the front desk, you're going to talk to Susan or Cindy, and then they can kind of set you up or answer a couple of questions, and then we can see if we can help you or not. And
Awesome.
to me, it's just it's been amazing, and it goes, like if you love your job, it goes really fast, So when I sit back and I think about, man, I've been doing this 22 years. That's the longest job I've ever had in my life, and I still like it, and I still enjoy doing this, and I still enjoy helping people, and meeting people like yourself that's just got that other option that I have. It's like, okay, what do you have? And because I have people that are like, well, I'm looking for something. I'm like, I know a girl, and like, you can't control what you do with, when you give them the information. And
Right.
Sometimes I had my first patient here in North Carolina. She was so cute. She'd saved my information from the newspaper when I first came here until she needed it. And so she came in with my first ad that I ever did. And it was years later. And I just started giggling. I'm like, well, all right then. And because as well as I do, people will find you when they need you.
When they need
and it's
you.
time. It's always the right time. It's like.
And I'm so glad
amazing.
I found you. And it was right after you moved here. And I'm just going to give a little aside, everybody. I used to own it in a former life. I used to own a printing company.
Yep.
And you called and said, I need brochures, but I can't leave my office because I'm the only person. Will you come here? Sure. So
yep.
That's been 1,000 years ago. It started it.
Yep.
And you had just asked a couple of questions, and it's like, I've noticed every time I turn my head, I have a headache. Well, it's no wonder. And so that's how long I've trusted you with my healthcare, and I'm very grateful because, again, when I didn't have healthcare, I had the healthcare from you, and I really feel like that's why at 65, woohoo, that I am strong, as powerful as I am, because I took care of my spine. Yeah.
Yes.
So take care of your spine, everybody, and call Dr. Work. Thank you so much for your time today. This was
Thank
fun.
you for asking me. I'm so glad this finally worked out. We've been talking about it for a long time. So
awesome. Well, I will see you soon. And then this will be on the Scented Balance blog post for everybody to find you. So thanks so much, Dr. Work.
Thank you. Bye, Melissa.